Ambassador Mitama Tuga, OON, ably represented. The representative is still on his way. The Chief Executive of the Institute, Dr. Joseph Ochogu, DG IPCR. The Chief of Defense Staff, ably represented. Guess is still ably represented. His Royal Majesty, Alhaji Adamu Baba Yunusa, the owner of Abaji, ably represented by Alhaji Kamal Adamu Shuaibu, the Crown Prince of Abaji. The IGP of Police, ably represented. Other chief executives of government agencies present. Ambassadors, high commissioners, diplomats of foreign missions present, representatives of foreign organizations, international organizations present, the country director, Mexico, Dr. Ndubusi Anyao, the executive director of NIM, Dr. Fatima Akilu, our former Director General, Professor Sunday Ochoche, and Professor Golwa, present with us. Ladies, directors and staff of the Institute, past directors of the Institute present, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to today's program, which is the National Stakeholder Engagement and Launch of Conflict Early Warning Situation Room. At this point in time, because we have run far with time, I would like to bring to the podium the Director General of the Institute, Dr. Joseph Ochogu, to give his welcome remark and purpose of today's engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, the Civil Defense Band. I will just stand on the protocol that has already been established by the MC and then try to run through. And my apologies for the time. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Metama Tuga, was on his way when he got a call from Mr. President to be in the villa. And then, of course, his representative is on his way. I had to have a conversation with his representative that with their permission, we have to start the program. We can't keep people waiting for that too long. So please, on behalf of the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, my sincere apology. We can't be talking of early warning, early response. And then here we are, you know. So on that note, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you all to this very significant gathering of stakeholders, showcasing the advancement in our conflict early warning, early response system. This progress results from the very robust collaboration between international and national agencies, subnational government bodies, NGOs, local actors, and community groups, all united in our commitment to effective conflict prevention, social cohesion, and sustainable peace in Nigeria. I think that is important for me to talk about the uniqueness, the innovative and creativeness, you know, of this partnership, you know, with the Nigerian government and the United States government. This is one particular project that is all stakeholders inclusive. You know, you coming from the international to the national, to the subnational, to the community level, to very local actors on the ground. And I think that in the course of this conversation, we'll be hearing more how this partnership has actually helped in building Nigerian conflict management and peace building measures on the ground with results, evidential proof, of the activities that have been on the ground. As the federal agency responsible for promoting peace in Nigeria, the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution has partnered with a consortium led by Mexico, Nigeria, supported by the West African Network for Peace Building, Kaduna State Peace Commission, and Plateau State Peace Building Agency. This consortium, known as Peace Action for Rapid and Transformative Nigerian Early Response Partner, is solely sponsored by the United States Agency for International Development. And I thought that we'll put a round of applause for them. The program is running in about 9 states, but started primarily within Plateau and Kaduna State with selected target communities where there was a bit of high tension in some of those places. But I can proudly say that with the interventions of the partner project in those locations, there is evidence of reduction in violence in those local communities, and people have gone about their businesses, livelihood has increased, further boosting Mr. President's food security agenda, which is one of his main priority agendas. Through conflict and stakeholder mapping, the establishment of community-based peace structures, and the inauguration of early warning monitoring and reporting group, community-based reconciliation committees, I think that you should just listen to it carefully. What we did in those local communities was to actually build the capacities of locals in those places. How they resolve their own differences among themselves, between themselves, one community and the other. So they have their existing own. What we did was to reinforce it with additional skills. If it's farmer-herder relation, I will promote them, to see how they build their relationship and increase their livelihood opportunities within their local community. Because our belief is that as local actors, as peace actors, the onus is on them to actually manage this whole system. So what we do is to provide that level of capacity from our end. And a very unique component of this also is the gender focal persons in these respective communities that we capacitated, provide them capacity building and all the necessary skills to monitor and report conflict indicators. This initiative has deepened local ownership and participation in our early warning system, enhancing non-kinetic responses to conflict and reducing violent incidences in a lot of our targeted communities. In year 3, our efforts expanded to Benue, Nasarawa, Kano. To Benue, Nasarawa, Kano, and Katsina states, establishing community peace structures and linking them with security and non-security apparatus for effective information sharing and collaborative response. The difference in the early warning, early response continuum, oftentimes, which evidences have shown, has always been on the response component. So what this partners program has done is to focus sufficiently on the response component to ensure that once there is a quick response to some of these incidents, rather than escalating into violence, it is prevented, it is mitigated. So integrating community conflict reporting structures into the national conflict early warning, early response backbone, alongside the conflict early warning indicator monitor, addresses the challenge of insufficient reporting. Establishing early warning response groups in 6 out of the 9 states has further bridged the gap between early warning and early response, enhancing our national systems response capacity. Our early warning situation room, which is one of the main reasons why we gathered here this morning, has been fortified with digital tools such as the early warning, early response application, the SMS channels, short messaging channels, and the toll-free lines for comprehensive conflict reporting. Since test running the application in April this year, we have achieved the following milestone: 100 reporters actively submitting conflict data, 63 responders signed up to the application, 4 toll-free lines established for online and offline conflict reporting, and 363 reports received from various parts of the country highlighting different conflict types. I think that I need to also mention that at the national level, we have a core of responders in all the relevant agencies, including the tri-services, the police, the intelligence system, and we have them build them up, they are embedded, they work in their respective agencies, but they are embedded and they are part of this conflict early warning system. And I must also emphasize that the tool we are working on here is not an intelligence tool. It's a conflict management development tool aimed at preventing violence in our local community. So it is not in real sense an intelligence tool, but a development tool that is deployed, to address issues of violence in local communities. Today's event marks the launch of the Early Warning Situation Room and serves as a platform to demonstrate our integrated digital capabilities. This launch is a pivotal moment in Nigeria's journey towards peace, showcasing increased community participation, improved farmer-herder relations, enhanced collaboration among security agencies, and greater human and food security in intervention areas. Our success story thus far has been increased community participation. Enhanced early warning and response systems involvement has fostered stronger local ownership. Secondly, improved farmer-herder relations in areas where we had worked. Mediation efforts have significantly reduced conflicts between farmers and herders in intervention communities. Thirdly, enhanced collaboration. Strengthening ties between security agencies and non-security response organizations have improved conflict management in those places. Also, deepened non-kinetic responses, adopting non-violent conflict resolution methods has decreased violent incidents. Enhanced human and food security. Improved security conditions have positively impacted human and food security in affected areas. Your Excellencies, Royal Fathers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to USAID that have vigorously pursued this program and invested the American taxpayers' money into this venture. And to say that we in the Institute are committed to ensuring a very transparent, open, and accountable process on how we deal with this partnership, and we are committed to that. I need to also say that as we work towards localization and sustainability of this program, we need to also retool our approach in terms of government-to-government engagement and how perhaps that can enhance localization and sustainability of this project. I want to thank the US government, as well as you said here, for that. I also want to thank Mercy Corps Nigeria, who have been a very worthy, credible partner. The start was not an easy start because government agency working with an INGO can be very funny, but I want to appreciate the country director and his team for a change in perception, on how we carried on, where we made mistakes, where we addressed these mistakes, and also the team from USAID to supporting, to ensure that we have a very robust and holistic early warning situation room. And there were things that were not there before, but once we mentioned it, they were quick to go back, rethink, and address the issues. And we are all gathered here for them. There are also our partners, the Plateau State Peace Building Agency, the Kaduna State Peace Commission with my brother Momale, and Mabaya House, the Benue State Peace Commission, and several other partners that we've worked with, and all the respective federal agencies and sub-national level agencies, as well as local actors that have worked with us in terms of receiving reports, in terms of reporting, in terms of the transmission and the disseminations of this report. One thing I will assure you, going forward, is to be how we're going to use the data sets in terms of analysis, improving our analytical insight to issues around violence and conflicts in our targeted areas, and see how, with the help of the Nigerian government also, we're going to scale it up, to across the country. The reason why we need to do that is that our early warning, early response system is going to be the #1 evidence-based center, for data collections on this issue. I want to thank the Director Generals, my predecessors, Director Generals and Directors who are present here, who sowed this seed. They sowed the seed long years ago, seeds for this early warning, early response. And I'm proud to say that the African Union early warning, early response system, they came here to this same institute to get their evidences and facts and literatures and data to establish the one in Addis Ababa. The ECOWAS own also was the same similar story, but ours has lagged behind. And that is why I express my whole heart gratitude to USAID, They've been our long-standing partner from 2000 when the Institute was created, and to see a very renewed partnership and how we increase US-Nigerian relation in preventing violence in Nigeria and across Africa. I so much thank you and welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General. May we give him another round of applause, please. Please make it louder. Okay. At this juncture, we're going to be having a goodwill messages. We're going to have two goodwill messages. Okay. May I recognize the presence of the country director of USAID present with us. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah. So now we're going to the goodwill messages. Okay. Please, Mark, can you come forth for your message? Please, can you clap for her? Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And our mission director was taken away from meeting, but in some ways it might be fitting, since you mentioned the long-standing relationship between USAID and working on conflict mitigation. A small fact is that I, in fact, was working on the program in 2000 as a manager from Washington on the first conflict mitigation programs here. So I actually understand the long road that's been taken to get to this arrival where you really have this beautiful center. And so, again, it's good morning, and it's great pleasure to be amongst the peacekeepers, security officers, and everyone here who, in your own individual and collective capacities, work to ensure a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. Peace is indeed a prerequisite to development and prosperity. This is why aid practitioners today underscore the important nexus between peace and development, which brings all different pieces together to support a symbolic relationship between them. Once more, I want to say a heartfelt thank you for all that you do. Today, we celebrate an important milestone in Nigeria's early response effort. In recent years, a lot has been invested by the government and donor community to equip Nigerians with the ability to observe, identify, detect, and report early signs of conflict in their communities. This is very laudable, as we all know it to be the first step in halting a conflict before it erupts to violence. However, I want to pause and ask this question. What is the point of calling for help if there's no one at the receiving end? Let's all think deeply about this. And again, I will say from my experience, that often was the hardest part about setting up conflict and early warning. USA designated partner activity to support Nigeria's responsiveness to early warning. We were intentional in crafting this initiative, bringing on the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, IPCR, at the center of the co-creation team. Our aim is to enrich the Institute with strong systems that will enable it to attain its mandate on conflict early response. In the 3 years of partner implementation, USAID supported early warning and early response skills development for staff of the Institute, facilitated linkages between national and state-level peace commissions, and most importantly, upgraded the facilities of the conflict situation room. In this digital era, we know that the fastest way to transmit information is through technology. Thus, for the conflict situation room, USAID supported the development of a technological one-step powerhouse to collate, synthesize, and dispatch information between communities and security operatives to advance the process of early response. Since the deployment of the conflict early warning response software, Ewsr, in June 2024, so just a little while ago, there have been about 25 responses to conflict incidents across the 6 partner implementing states, namely Plateau, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Benue, and Nasarawa. An interesting finding from the Ewsr pilot is a possibility of having security operatives present at the scene of the conflict incident after 20 minutes of a distress call. 20 minutes. I can say sometimes in my hometown of Washington, D.C., it may not be that fast. So that is really remarkable. Simply put, our ability to respond quickly to conflict saves lives. This is what makes promising approaches like Ewsr so vital. Equally vital are the efforts to scale these approaches to reach even more people, which brings us here today. IPCR, with the support of USAID, will officially unveil this Ewsr platform for access to all Nigerians. Citizens can simply dial or text the toll-free number being shared around as I speak. I think you all have it in your packets already, to call for help. Partner has already supported the establishment of synergies between communities and security operatives in its 6 implementation states, and will continue to support IPCR to roll out this effort to more states in the near future. It is our hope that the Ewsr will save lives, provide accountability to conflict-affected communities, and reduce burdens and duplication efforts among security agencies. Additionally, increase citizen trust in state security, and ultimately promote a whole society approach towards preventing conflict and violence in communities. I would like to end my remarks by acknowledging the relentless efforts of our partners in the partner activity. Mercy Corps, WANUP Nigeria, Plateau Peacebuilding Agency, Kaduna State Peace Commission, Mumbai House Kano, Benue State Commission for Peace and Reconciliation, and the Kukwa Center, Independent State Peace Architectures, members of the Early Warning Response Group, national and state level, and all the community peace groups. You all have made enormous contributions to the successful deployment of the Ewsr, and USAID is proud to partner with you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Director Angela Martins. Please, can we give her another round of applause, please? Yeah. At this point, I would like to call on the representative of the Director, Presidential Communication, Command and Control Center of Office of the National Security Advisor, to please come forward for his goodwill message. Please, can we give him a round of applause, please?
Thank you very much, MC. The representative of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Country Director, United States of America Agency for International Development, the Director General, National Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, critical stakeholders here present, the press, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of my director, Rear Admiral Robert Obande Obeya, the Director of Presidential Communication, Command and Control Center, the Office of the National Security Advisor. I am Sunday Matthew Orga, the Deputy Director, Crisis Response and Recognized Information Picture in the Office of the National Security Advisor. I wish to humbly present the goodwill message on behalf of the representatives of ministries, departments, and agencies here present. I am honored to be part of this significant event marking the launch of the Conflict Early Warning Situation Room, aimed at enhancing effective response indicators in Nigeria. Today, we take a crucial step towards promoting peace, stability, and security in our nation. This initiative demonstrates our collective commitment to addressing the root causes of conflict and ensuring a safer future for all Nigerians. The Conflict Early Warning Situation Room is a vital tool in predicting, preventing, and mitigating conflicts by leveraging technology, community engagement, and data-driven insights that we assist in identifying potential flashpoints and take proactive measures. It will also enhance coordination among stakeholders, including government agencies, civil societies, and local communities. And thereafter, it will assist in fostering inclusive dialogue and reconciliation, as well as protecting vulnerable populations, especially women children, and the marginalized groups. Furthermore, this system will reinforce our resolve to promote peaceful coexistence and social cohesion. It will also strengthen institutional capacity for conflict prevention and resolution, and finally, support economic development and humanitarian responses. May I, at this point, commend the organizers, partners, and stakeholders for their tireless efforts in making this initiative a reality. I must say that your dedication to peace and security is laudable. As we launch this critical project, let us reaffirm our commitment to collaborate and share information and carry out community-led initiatives and grassroots engagements. This is in addition to us applying evidence-based decision-making. Finally, together, we can create a safer, more prosperous Nigeria where diversity is celebrated and conflicts are resolved peacefully. Your Excellencies, critical stakeholders, very distinguished guests here present, I must say at this point that you are great people, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
global strategy called Pathway to Possibilities. And for us, it really emphasizes giving ownership and empowerment to local communities and organizations. For Mercy Corps, this is a guiding principle. We believe that sustainable change can only happen when local stakeholders are empowered to take ownership of the communities for the future. So I'm going to stop here and hand over to my colleague Danjuma, the Chief of Party, to share some more details about the partner activity.
All right. Thank you very much, NDBCD. I think one of the key things I just want to call out here is the fact that for the past 3 years, I think this particular project demonstrated something very significant, and that is partnership and collaboration. And this partnership and collaboration is not only between civil society organizations, meaning Mercy Corps and WANEP, no. It's a partnership and collaboration between state government agencies like Plateau State Peace Building Agency, Kaduna State Peace Commission, Benue State Commission for Peace and Reconciliation, and all the other independent state peace architectures being managed by Kuka Center. This partnership and collaboration also is a testament that partnership with civil society organizations, with government agencies, with other agencies can happen. This program had demonstrated that for the past 3 years, Mercy Corps had not implemented a project in any of the states that we are talking about. It is our partners that implemented. Mercy Corps just did a mentoring and coaching, that's all. Mercy Corps built or strengthened the capacity of these partners, and the partners took the lead and became the face of the project because we believe in sustainability and ownership of a project. The third most important thing that I also want to say about this project is ownership at community level. We work with various communities that are divided across ethnic, religious, tribal, and political differences. But then these communities took the initiative to implement this project themselves. They set the stage for the implementation of the project through what we call community action planning. And these communities led in the implementation of this. So I just want to highlight this as one of the most important components of this program that is characterized by partnership and collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please, may I call on Mr. James Gaza? Please come. Please, can we clap for him? He is the head of administration, Benue State Commission for Peace and Reconciliation. He is going to read the citation of our keynote speaker, Professor Sunday Ochoche, our former Director General, the first Director General of the Institute. Please, Professor Ochoche, can you come up while you stand and he reads the citation? Thank you.
Your Excellencies, traditional rulers here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, introduction and citation of Professor Sunday Abogenye Ocheje. FWC is an acronym for Fellow of the World College. Professor Sunday Abogenye Ocheje is Executive Director / Chief Executive Officer, Aija Consult Limited, and visiting professor to the Department of Political Science and Defense Studies, Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, Kaduna, Nigeria. He was a directing staff at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, Kuru, Nigeria, from 2021 to 2023. He was the pioneer executive director of the Nigerian Foundation for the Support of Victims of Terrorism, Abuja, Nigeria, from November 2014 to November 2020. Between 2006 and 2013, he served with the United Nations and Director of Political Affairs at the UN Political Office for Somalia, Mogadishu. Senior Political Affairs Officer in the United Nations Mission in Sierra Leone, Senior Political Officer in the United Mission in Darfur, Sudan, and Senior Policy Advisor with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, New York. He was Pioneer Director General / Chief Executive Officer of the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, the Presidency, Abuja, Nigeria, between 2000 and 2006, in which capacity he also served as advisor to the President on Conflict Management in Africa. Between 1993 and 2000, he served first as Deputy Director of Military Strategy / Directing Staff, and then Director of Research and Publications of the Nigerian War College, now Defense College, Abuja. He has taught at the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, and University of Jos, Nigeria, respectively. Professor Sunday Ochoche was part of the Nigerian-led high-level ECOWAS team of mediators in the civil crisis between President Vieira and General Mane of Guinea-Bissau in 1998, and headed a 4-nation ECOWAS committee to investigate the matter between Guinea-Bissau and Gambia. September 2002, he was a member of the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiatives. He served as advisor to International Conflict and Security Consulting, London, and is a member of the Council of the Capital City University, Kano. He was a member of the National Committee for the Drafting on Nigeria's Defense Policy, 1997. Sunday Ochoche was a postdoctoral fellow of the SSRC MacArthur Foundation International Peace and Security Studies at General Matthew B. Ridgway Center for International Security Studies, University of Pittsburgh, United States of America, 1998 to 1991, and also a SSRC MacArthur Individual Visiting Fellow to Institute of Development Studies, University of Sussex, Brighton, England, in 1987. He holds a PhD 1983 and MA 1981 degrees in Peace Studies from the University of Bradford, England, and BA 1977 in Philosophy from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. He also holds a Diploma in National Security Studies, Galilee College, Ewsr, Israel, 2005, and Certificate in International Human Rights Studies, the International Institute for Human Rights, Strasbourg, France, 1997. He has published widely on defense and strategy, peace and security, and the United Nations peace building. He is a fellow of the War College, Nigeria, and member Professor Ochoche, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. The Director General, representative of the ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Afternoon. It's always such a to be back home here and to also note the significant steps the Institute has taken over the period that one has been out of here. I'm particularly excited to be part of the program here today. As the DG noted in his remark, so much of what is happening here today started with the strategic conflict assessment that we conducted and published in 2002. And
it's also good to note and appreciate that USAID that was with us then is still with us today. Thank you so much. I remember in particular Minnie Wright, who was the one really on ground working with us here. And we became such a family, such friends, that even when she left to the US, we were in regular touch to the point that she took ill. We were still in touch until when eventually she passed. And I think I was one of the first people also to be informed about her passing, and please accept our condolences for Minnie Wright. But that is how far we have come and how close. And thank you so much for continuing to be there for IPCR. Thank you very much. And it's also exciting to know how far we have come, because following the strategy of Nigeria, where we recognize the need for warning and early response systems for Nigeria, we also had the very low capacity, almost non-capacity to do that in Nigeria. And I recall that the first category of people who were supposed to drive this process, we had to come from here to South Africa, to the Institute of Strategic Pretoria for training, in the areas of early warning and early response, then. Today, we have matured to the point that we are the ones doing the training, for us. The young shall grow. I think you have really congratulations, DG, and the staff of the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, and the partners that have remained dogged, and supporting the Institute. Thank you so much. I have to speak very briefly, because the time is really short, on the peace policy for effective early warning and early response. And your note address, just going to have some conversation on some areas in particular that I think, from what I've heard from the DG and from Mexico, there's no question that efforts are being made in that direction, but I still think that other very critical areas, particular responses that we really need to look at, and I'll try to see how focus attention. Is there anything that can be done about this speaker? I think he's becoming so. Okay. Yeah. Let me begin by noting that peace requires conscious planning and deliberate organization and implementation of policies and programs. And it's important that we really know that. The time we were growing up and when we got into the area of peace studies and the rest, the major, slogan then was, if you want peace, prepare for war. And the world kept preparing for war. And what they got was war. What you prepare for is what you get. We also forget that you can prepare for peace. And over the period, there has been significant change in trajectory and understanding, of the whole dynamics around peace. And today, peace work is itself recognized and appreciated as a concrete area of responsibility that people need to do. So that peace requires, building appropriate structures and capacities that not only help society to address the immediate impact of violent conflicts and natural hazards, but also shrinks the space for the emergence of potential adversity. It's not, I'll be saying the most obvious, and really carrying cold to Newcastle, to say that Nigeria is faced with multiple security challenges of overlapping local and transnational dimensions. You all know that better than I do. Nigeria's security challenges range from terrorism in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, violent separatism agitations in the southeast, kidnapping for ransom across the country, to conflicts between pastoralists, name them. And we don't have time to begin to go to, because you know that better than I do. You're even more current than I am. Most conflict communities, and this is the direction really I want my focus to go, you know that yes, these conflicts have affected people in different ways. Has affected institutions, has affected communities, has affected individuals. Most conflict-affected communities are helpless and paralyzed. Reeling from the onslaught of violence, while traumatized and vulnerable populations are left to cope with the hardship and burden of precarious survival. The point I'm trying to make here, and that's the direction I want to go. Yes, we have suffered a lot of conflict. Communities have been devastated. At a time that we are talking of early warning and early response, beyond making that call, beyond sending the data, beyond sending the warning, the number one victims of this conflict, most of the time the communities, the people in the communities, how prepared are they to respond? How much have we equipped communities? What infrastructure are there for communities to respond to conflicts and hazards? And I want us to look at not just the conflicts dimension, but also the hazard dimension as we look at responses, and to see how communities can be effective or can be better equipped to manage the risk and the challenges that they face in these directions. So there's no question that the need for a national framework to guide the efforts of public and private sectors at the national, state, and political and local levels to prevent conflict and build peace in Nigeria cannot be overstated. A peace policy will provide a coherent, participatory, and coordinated approach to conflict prevention, peace building, and conflict management in the country. It should spell out clearly the role everyone will have to play at different levels. Having a peace policy will not only be in line with the spirit of our Constitution, but also the vision and policy will enhance the so-called coordination that has been inadequate in the prevention, mitigation, and management of conflicts. I know that with the first strategic conflict assessment of 2002, IPCR, for a the need for that was identified. I'm also aware that since then, IPCR made tremendous effort to develop the national peace policy. Yes, today it may request significant updating and review and so on, even though it has not been passed, but I think you have already done some reasonable work, and you have in place a document that can be worked on and used for what we need to do. We're also talking about early warning, which is essentially about data collection and verification, gathering information from various sources to identify potential conflict indicators, risk analysis, which is analyzing the data to predict potential conflicts and identify conflict needs, information transmission, which is sharing analyzed data with policymakers and stakeholders, and then making appropriate recommendations, i.e. providing actionable advice for timely response to prevent or mitigate conflicts. I want to emphasize that, the role of IPCR and a number of the agencies represented here are particularly important. For this. Many of our agencies charged with the responsibility of practically, looks like it's working now. Okay, thank you. Many of them are so busy responding to the day-to-day challenges of survival, that there is very little time to think. There is very little time for analysis. And thinking requires time, thinking requires discipline. To have good analysis, you must have good brains around it that also pay attention. And I have said this maybe here before, and I still say it because I think that that example or that model remained very, very useful. I still remember, I think it was the 2003 election, where there were all the concerns about electoral violence, etc. And we had some little funding from some agency to support electoral violence. And I remember what we used to do, but maybe some of you are saying here that we placed at the News Agency of Nigeria data room. And we placed them there, and every day just to collect the information coming in on electoral violence. And every week we gather this to analyze it by geographical distribution, by the intensity of it, by the nature of the conflict, and so on. And we used to gather here the DSS, the police, the NIA, the DMI, and the critical security agencies here in the office every Thursday to carry out this analysis. And every Friday before 1 p.m., the outcome of our analysis will be at the desk of the heads of these agencies. And I remember the police in particular valued this product so much that by 2 o'clock any Friday that they had not seen it, the IG was calling. They have not seen their copy for the week of the analysis. It helped them so much in the deployment and the particular responses, that they needed to do at that time. And I think these are some of the things when we talk about this analysis, and this is where the room here, the early warning room becomes particularly critical. The quality of work that you do and the presentations that you make to the respective organizations that will need to utilize this. But my focus today is on timely response to prevent or mitigate conflicts. And in this, we shall concentrate on an effective national resilience framework. This is driven principally by the understanding that the primary objective of any security arrangement is the protection of the person. If you claim to have effective early warning, effective early response, and everybody is dying, then the principal focus is the person, is the individual human being. In the same vein, the individual is the line of first defense. That individual, that person is the line of first defense against any threats to his security. So if he is the line of first defense against security, against the threats, what are his capacities for that defense? How is he able to perform that role as the first respondent in a conflict situation or in a situation of hazard? And this is where I think when we talk of early response, we really, really need to be trying to look at. So, resilience has become an all-embracing term used to describe the capacity to survive, adapt, and bounce back. According to the United Nations, this is the Sendai framework of 2015. Resilience is the ability of a system, community, or society exposed to hazards to resist, absorb, accommodate, adapt to, transform, and recover from the effects of a hazard in a timely and efficient manner, including through the preservation and restoration of its essential basic structures and functions through risk management. Now, building resilience is about addressing vulnerabilities. And I'm still saying that we understand this from the perspective of response. That building resilience is critical to the efficiency of whatever response mechanism you have in place. So, comprehensive societal resilience consists of 3 partly overlapping phases. 1, attributes that increase the resistance and immunity of a system/society in order to absorb the immediate impact of the crisis. So, when the bandits invade a village in Zamfara or Kebbi, what is the capacity of the villager? What is the villager expected to do as the number one step for his or her survival? I'm not sure how much of it he knows or how much we have equipped him or her to do. Then, number two is resources needed to maintain general functionality and identity of a system while adverse conditions persist. While the place is being invaded, while the structures are destroyed, etc., how does the person continue with his living? How does he or she survive under those circumstances? Does he or she know how? And then three, broader institutional and societal attributes, not only in adapting positively to the post-threat situation, but also by initiating a reflective learning process to enhance comprehensive resilience of a system through society to face another similar disruption in the future. If this attack of bandits has come and gone, they have managed to be alive, what about the next one coming? How are they ready for the next one coming? What lessons have they learned from this attack? And how is that going to improve their response to the next attack? These are critical components. And this is where, again, I'm happy the words are already being used here, and we have been using them. And this is where I believe that we really need a whole of society approach to early warning and early response. Whole of society approach. In other words, we need the people incorporated into our security infrastructure because they are critical to the success and efficiency of our security infrastructure. They are the first respondents. They are the first victims. Especially community resilience, where most of our communities, given the level of infrastructural the deficiency, the distance, the remote nature, and so on, even no matter how efficient the state institutions of the police, the military, and so on may be, it will take them a while to get to some of these places when there is an attack or where there is hazard, where there is a problem. In the interim, this 1, 2, 3, 4 hours before the military, the police, and others get there, what do they do? What do they do? And this is where, when you are talking about response, early response, you must begin to look at the issues of community resilience. What do they do under those circumstances? But the application of whole of society approach comes with many challenges. First, the quality of relationship and partnership that can be fashioned between non-government actors and government depends considerably on the quality of governance. And I'm saying here that fundamentally, you may not agree, but if you don't agree, please review your data very carefully. Fundamentally, there are challenges of relationship between the Nigerian people and the Nigerian government. There's fundamental challenge of alienation by the people, or alienation of the people from the government. Under those circumstances, you face serious challenges with developing and building your whole of society approach to issues of security. Because when there is a trust gap, a trust deficiency between the people and their government, is very, very difficult. Which is to say that even from the IPCR perspective or from the early warning perspective, is recognizing consistently, and I'm not saying anything new, that governance is a critical component of early warning and early prevention. Good governance is critical to addressing that. So, and this can be possible only when you have a government that has some self-confidence, has some trust in itself, has a good relationship with the people. A government whose policies are alienating to its citizens cannot expect to build any reasonable or rewarding partnership with the people. The extent to which the citizens feel a sense of belonging and ownership of the system is critical to the quality of relationship they can establish with the state. The people must have a feeling and a sense of ownership to be able to relate confidently with with the government in building a whole of society security-based approach. There's also the fact that the security sector is traditionally the most opaque. It's not just in Nigeria. The security sector in the whole world is the most opaque sector in the whole world. If you are looking for the least democratic area of American life, go to the Pentagon. In the security sector, like Robin Lockhart would say, security is like Caesar's wife. It's beyond question. Once you label it security, that's it. You don't question security. So it's the most opaque, even in strong and well-established democracies. So for security reasons, governments are careful what they share with who. Thank you. There are fundamental issues of trust between security agencies and civil society organizations in particular, where in conflict situations, the latter are seen as collaborators with enemy entities. Then there is the issue of the inequality of capacity between, because I'm saying here that for a whole of society approach to security, the partnership and collaboration between the security sector and the civil sector is critical. It's non-negotiable. You must work together to accomplish it. Tragically, when you have a partnership of unequals, it becomes very, very difficult for it to work effectively. There is so much more capacity in the areas we are talking about in the security sector than there is in the civil sector. And so what do we do? How can we enhance the capacity of the civil sector to be able to work more efficiently with the security sector in this? So we have a need to build a capacity for planning and capabilities requirements for countering the full spectrum of the diverse threats and hazards that we face. Our national resilience framework must emphasize partnership and collaboration. In whole of society approach, we have no choice. So much of the capacity we need is available, scattered across different sectors of society. So much of it is already there. And it's a question of doing an appropriate capacity audit, identifying the agencies, and pulling them together. And so much work is already going on there. I know that, thank God, that Chris Ngodo is here. His office has done significant work. IPC has done a lot of work in those areas. And so we look forward, especially to Ewsr and IPCR, taking the lead of the coordination of a lot of the relevant stakeholders and agencies in building community resilience. Let me especially note that as we talk about building community resilience, the role of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The Civil Defense Corps cannot be overemphasized. And let me say this, that look, Civil Defense Corps, and I'm sure some of your officers are here, and I'll say this to you people at the highest level. When this country conceived of Civil Defense Corps, it was not about carrying guns and bullets and intimidating people here and there. Civil was very deliberate in your name. Civil Defense Corps. It's not supposed to be armed. And so we expect that when you are building community resilience in particular, the role, you see, the act setting of the Civil Defense Corps, among others, provide for necessary warning for the civilian population in times of danger, evacuating the civilian population from danger areas, provide and manage shelters for civilians during periods of emergency, assist in the decontamination, and so much of what we are talking about here, community resilience, the other name for it essentially is civil defense. It's civil defense. And we really, really wish that civil defense can step forward. And in all humility, I was privileged to be part of the writing of the technical paper for the formation of civil defense in the 80s. And this is not what we are looking, that was not what we are looking to. But there is a lot of work to be done by them in coordination and with others, including the Nigerian Legion. When I will see the capacity, all the retired soldiers and officers scattered across the country, and the capacities they have moved with into communities, how can these be harnessed in terms of infusing the community with some basic understanding of security awareness and how to survive in times of the challenges that we face? Once again, Mr. DG, thank you so much for the privilege to be part of this discussion. I truly appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Professor Choche. Thank you so much, sir. At this point, I want to recognize the presence of the representative of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Abu Obe. He will as well come up to the podium and give his remarks. It's just for 2 minutes, please. I know you can do that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, the Honorable Minister cannot be here. He's unavoidably absent, and I was thrust into this role to represent him, and he sends his apologies and regrets. Thank you very much. And in view of the fact that I came quite late, I would attempt the protocol. First of all, let me recognize the DG of IPCR here, Dr. Joseph Ochogu. I also would want to recognize the Father of the Day, His Royal Majesty, Honor Obaji Alhaji Adamu Baba Unisa, as well as the DG of DSS, Natural Boundary Commission, as well as the IG, and most especially the representative from USAID. Thank you very much. I'm not trying to be verbose in my presentation, so let me just get to it. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be here today at the occasion of the inauguration of the Enhanced Situation Room for managing peace structures in 9 selected states. This initiative, in collaboration with the United States Agency for International Development, is a testimony to the progress we are already making in conflict management and peace building as a nation. The Situation Room will receive, verify, and dispatch conflict reports to appropriate response agencies. The Early Warning Response Group, comprising security and non-security personnel, is an innovative strategy by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution to deepen non-kinetic response options, promoting community cohesion and local ownership of peace-building efforts. This initiative aligns with Mr. President's, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 8 priority areas: boosting agriculture for food security, unlocking energy and natural resources, enhancing infrastructure and transport, improving education, health and social investment, and strengthening democracy and demography. The USAID-sponsored Peace and Action Transformative Nigerian Early Response Project has had a significant impact on violent conflicts in areas of implementation in the North Central and Northwest zones. The project, implemented by a consortium that includes Mercy Corps Nigeria as well as West African Network for Peace Building, WANEP, focuses on conflict, early warning, social cohesion, and peace building. Stakeholders responding to early warning reports. On behalf of the President of the Republic of Nigeria, I thank USAID, and the US government for their support. The task ahead requires the contribution and cooperation, of all stakeholders. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will ensure continued support for the IPCR and the partner project by facilitating international collaborations, securing necessary funding, and providing strategic guidance. We will work closely with all stakeholders to enhance the effectiveness and sustainability of this initiative. A critical point of information that the minister would like for me to convey is the need for positive reporting when it comes to issues that are reported in the press regarding domestic or other issues that may seem kind of detrimental to the image of the country, because reportage and how it is carried out is very important. He outlined a couple of things here. He said they're very sensitive when it comes to wordings of issues. For instance, if you say a mugging versus an armed robbery, it changes the entire narrative of that story. Also, he mentioned issues like when someone says ethnic Fulani, instead of saying something like the indigenous committee members. Or for instance, something that happened recently, the student protest in Jega, Kebbi State, was reported as arson. And the residence of the provost was said to be touched. And was it touched or was it burned down? These are very, very sensitive ways to enhance our image. So in a nutshell, he maintained that, for instance, WANEP, the thematic areas that WANEP was meant to cover were things like organized crime, violent extremism, women, peace and security, democracy and governance, and environmental security. So his trust is that the IPCR will work closely with the relevant stakeholders with a view to reshaping the narratives that go out regarding Nigeria's image. I thank you very much. Sorry, I made a little bit of a mistake. I didn't introduce myself, did I? Or did you introduce me? Okay.
For clarity, let me introduce him again. He's Ambassador Abu Obe, the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you. A round of applause for him, please. Yeah, please, we are going to take a few more messages, and it's going to be for 2 minutes. 2 minutes each. I'm talking of proper 2 minutes, not extended 2 minutes. We're going to be calling on the representative of the Chief of Defense Staff, Rear Admiral Ewsr Chugali. Please comfort. Is it too much? 10. Okay. My DG said 5, sir.
Thank you very much. The special guest of honor, ably represented by the ambassador, the Director General of this institute, our chief host, our royal fathers, international and national stakeholders here, representatives from the ministries, departments, and agencies, civil society organizations, my colleagues from the armed forces and other security agencies, the media, ladies and gentlemen. I decided to say a bit of the protocol because our heavyweights that came here has been standing on the protocol, and me carrying the whole weight of the armed forces. If I stand on the protocol again, I think there'll be crisis. Then there'll be conflict. I don't know who you're going to respond to. Thank you very much. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Gwabin Musa, Officer of the Federal Republic, wanted to be here physically and personally because of his concern on peace and security issues in Nigeria, but he was called to attend to some more pressing issues. So he said I should represent him. So when I say I mean the Chief of Defense Staff. Meanwhile, I am Rear Admiral Ewsr Chugali, Director of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, Mitigation and Relief under the Defense Department of Civil Military Relations. In his words, I bring you warm greetings from the Nigerian Armed Forces. It is indeed an honor and privilege to address this August gathering of national and international stakeholders on conflict, early warning, and early response. I have been assigned to speak on the topic civil-military relations for an effective early warning and early response system in Nigeria. The topic is certainly apt, considering the numerous challenges confronting our dear nation today. But I would like to replace the word relations with collaboration, because the latter is more apt than the former regarding the topic. Collaboration exists when several people pool together their common interests, assets, and professional skills to promote broader shared goals and responsibilities in a society. That's why he chose the word collaboration instead of relations here. A collaboration exists when several people pool together common interests, assets, and professional skills to promote broader and shared goal of the society. We need this like any other thing in this country now. The challenges we face as a nation are complex, multifaceted, and multi-layered, evolving every day, from the ongoing insurgency in the Northeast to the persistent banditry in the Northwest, communal crashes in the Middle Belt, and natural disasters across the country. We need a robust and coordinated approach to secure and prevent most of the conflicts from escalating into violence. Thus, our discussion today on strengthening civil-military collaboration as a means of enhancing conflict, early warning, and early response capabilities is both timely, critical, and of national importance. Let me conceptualize some few words here. At this juncture, permit me to begin by explaining the concept of early warning and early response. An effective early warning system is one that can accurately detect, monitor, and communicate potential threats or crises before they escalate into full-blown violence or emergencies. It relies on timely, accurate, and actionable information, actionable intelligence, to inform a critical decision-making and ensure that appropriate measures are taken to prevent or mitigate the impact of such security threats to the society. Early response, on the other hand, involves the ability to act quickly, decisively, and also appropriately to address these threats before they escalate or spiral out of control. In a country as diverse as Nigeria, the success of any conflict early warning and early response system hinges on a collective ability to work together across different sectors and departments of the country. This will involve the military and all other relevant stakeholders, including the civilian stakeholders, communities, and civil society organizations. Therefore, our approach must be collaborative, inclusive, complete, and decisive. What is the role of civil-military collaboration in conflict, early warning, and early response system? Civil-military collaboration forms the backbone of an effective civil or conflict, early warning, and early response system. Strong collaboration between the military and civilian stakeholders is very essential and critical in ensuring that early warning signals are not just received, but acted upon in a decisive manner. Over the years, we have learned that no single entity, and I say again, no single entity, no single ministry, no single department, no single agency can do its assigned roles alone. Because of the dynamic nature, there must be collaboration across board, both vertically and horizontally, for you to deliver on your mandate. This informed our directive, our effective collaboration with the civilian JTF and vigilantes in several theaters of operations, such as the current military operations going on in the Northeast, in the Northwest, North Central, North Southeast, and many parts of the country. It is heartwarming to note that our collaboration with other security agencies, civil societies, ministries, departments, and agencies are working. And that's why there's relative peace in those areas as compared to before. One of the key requirements of a successful military collaboration is trust. The prof that delivered the keynote address emphasized that trust is the bedrock. Trust is the platform upon which every stakeholder must bring his product and services to be integrated so that the mandate of enforcing peace and security is achieved. Trust is built over time through consistent, transparent, and respectful engagement. It involves creating an environment where individuals, groups, and communities feel safe to report incidents, share information, and engage with military and law enforcement agencies without fear of being reported or reprisal. For the military, it means being open to collaboration, listening to concerns of civilians or host communities, and acting with integrity and professionalism. It also involves a commitment to accountability, ensuring that any action taken is in line with legal, ethical standards. The military does not operate in vacuum. Wherever we operate, we know that we are either operating in or around host community. So we also find out their local rules, their culture, their traditions, so that in the process of trying to protect them, we will not go against those virtues. We work together. I respect you, you respect me, and we'll get to where we are supposed to go to. To this end, when I was appointed the Chief of Defense Staff, I clearly stated my leadership concept for the Armed Forces of Nigeria, which is to nurture a professional Armed Forces of Nigeria that is people-centric, capable of meeting its constitutional responsibilities in joint and collaborative environment. I assure you of the Armed Forces of Nigerians' commitment to safeguarding well-being of Nigerians and collaborating with all other compatriots. That's the way we are collaborating now. In the process of forging a smooth and cordial civil-military relations, there are always challenges. And it can come from our side, it can come from the side of the host communities, it can come from also the side of other stakeholders. We must also acknowledge the challenges that have hindered effective civil-military collaboration in Nigeria. In the past, Incidents of mistrust, as I earlier said, mistrust, looking at the military or any other security agencies as an enemy while he's there for you. That trust must be cultivated, must be enhanced, and must be entrenched so that civilians will understand that this is our armed forces and the armed forces are for you. Security agencies are working for you and you must support them to succeed. Onward together, the way we normally say in the Navy, we must work together. In some cases, local communities have been reluctant to share information with security agencies or first responders. Why? Because they feel there may be reprisal of sorts. Conversely, the military may have been cautious about engaging with civilian groups due to concerns about security of operations or the potential for intelligence leaks. The professor said it, that we are very opaque. You must understand that our mandate is for you, but is enshrined in so many ways that you may not understand. But as much as possible, we try to carry you along so that you know. We are bound by several regulations. Apart from the one governing you, we also are having our own regulations, and we also abide by international humanitarian and legal regulations. Wherever we go, we have what we call rules of engagement. So as we operate within you, there could be casualties, unintended. Definitely, no military man will engage a civilian in the theater willfully, just to damage property or to damage a civilian. But in the process of our activity, there could be one or two issues. Based on that, the Defense Headquarters has established decks across all the formations. At the Defense Headquarters, we have a whole branch dedicated to civil-military relations. And the services, that's Army Headquarters, Naval Headquarters, Air Force Headquarters, have desks specifically for handling civil-military relations issues, gender issues, and human rights issues. Up to the last fighting unit of the armed forces, there must be an officer designated to receive concerns, receive either disaster, emergency, conflict reports, and escalate it. Where the unit cannot sort out, they now escalate it to the next unit. So we are mindful of the dangers, the friction that may be caused by our operations within you. So you have to understand us. We are not being opaque. We are being opaque for you. So you understand that. You may not know our move. Imagine a soldier being told that inside that bush there are armed people. You don't have a choice. You have to move. So the regulations are there, and no commander, military commander, can tell his subordinates to go and unnecessarily injure, damage the livelihood, or anything that pertains to civilians. But what we need is that you are to give us information, actionable information, so that we'll be able to target properly without harming you. So that's it. So that's about the question of being opaque. Definitely, if we are open, you will not understand us, because we are governed by the spirit of fighting. Sorry about that. So it is us. We are trained actually to go to where you cannot go to. So, okay. So Minister V, thank you very much. It's okay. So the statement of the CDS is a bit long, but I can paraphrase it. Yeah. So it's all about building synergy, building collaboration, ensuring trust. We have carried out a lot of activities, training our personnel on how to act, how to integrate, or how to relate with our host communities. I will say again that we don't operate in vacuum. And the situation in the country now is such that we are fighting an invisible enemy, enemy within. The enemy is just like you. You are just like them. They go to church, they go to mosque, they go to market, they go to everywhere you are. But within seconds, they will turn against you. So we are faced with a difficult situation. You have to be by our side. Those people are not dropped from the moon. They are not dropped from heaven. They are brothers and sisters and uncles and friends of us, all of us. And some people have empathy. They cover them up because either on religious grounds or on tribal grounds or being an associate. Then next time they drop a bomb in a marketplace, bullet or bomb does not differentiate between my brother, my sister, my trust man, my religion man, or whatever. We are all in it together. So what we are pleading for is that, DG, thank you very much for providing the platform. We look forward to engaging more with all of you, the ministries, departments, agencies, civil society organizations, stakeholders across both nationally and internationally, so that we together can defeat the enemy. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, can we give him another round of applause? We have other speakers lined up, but unfortunately, we cannot take all due to time constraint. At this very point in time, we want to bring up our royal father, the Crown Prince of Abaji, Alhaji Kamal Adamu Shuaibu, to come and give us his royal blessing. Thereafter, we have the group photograph here.
May the peace of Allah be with all of us. I have to recognize Minister of Foreign Affairs, which was duly represented by His Excellency Abu Obi. And why I have to know his name, I think for the past about 38 to 40 years now, we've not met. Coincidentally, he's here to represent the minister, and I'm here to represent the honor of Abaji, the Chairman, Traditional Council of Chief, Pro-Chancellor, Federal University of Ukari, Alhaji Adamu Baba Yunusa. It's just surprising to me, and I have to acknowledge and appreciate the DG. The DG, well, I will say very few words about you very soon. And representative of the Defense, CDS, and the journal agency you said, and other ones. Well, message from His Royal Father, Alhaji Dr. Adamu Baba Yunusa, the honor of Abaji, which knows much about this peace, because the purpose of tradition is peace, 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 and peace. Vis-a-vis, I think the job being done here, it's a job that any patriotic Nigeria, any Nigeria that believes in Nigeria and want Nigeria to work, would definitely acknowledge and appreciate what we've all had here, and will always collaborate with them to make sure they get the best result out of the entire thing we are discussing here. Because all they are saying is prevention is better than cure. And all of us, we know what the nation is going through. It's a very, very trying period for the nation. And I pray we overcome it one day, which it definitely will overcome it one day. For sure, I know that. It's not easy. Some people want to give up. Please don't give up. All they are saying is we have to be our brother's keepers by sharing information. Early sharing of information is what they are deliberating about here. And if we can do that, I bet you most of the crises we are facing, we will never face them again, because they will prevent them before the crisis turns to be something else. I was seriously being touched when the professor, the pioneer DG here, I think he gave us a lot of information within the short possible time. And all of us that really listen to him will carry something heavily home and will understand that we need ourselves seriously. Because he said so many things, but he decided to do away with himself and keep telling us that we know much, which I know he knows better than most of us here with his information that he gave us here. So all of us that we heard about you, honestly speaking, we appreciate you. Everybody that came here,
I have something to take home with, to go and tell my principal, this is what the information we've gotten. And people always forget that there were people here in FCT. And if you are talking about peace-loving people, are the people of FCT here. That is why we don't have too much crisis. Most of the crises come outside people from FCT, not we, the indigenous people of FCT. Do you know why? We know the importance of peace, and our traditional people always keep telling us that for us to grow, you need more visitors. You can't grow without visitors. And when you look at the population right now, the visitors are much more than us, but they still believe we own our land. That, I think, is a normal thing to do. Nigerians always believe in one thing. Where there is peace, you see the entire nation move towards that place. That is why FCT here, every Nigeria, have one or two of its representatives here. And it's because of that peace, I'm telling you, nothing more than that. And that peace is not being done by us. It's collaboration with the security. The all segment parastatals like this, institutions like this, came together to make sure we have serious peace here, because any Nigeria should be proud of the unity of the nation, which is Abuja here. All of you, I agree with you, most of you here claim to come from different states, but majority of your kids are from FCT here. Am I saying your mind? So if I'm saying your mind, I think you should put in more here in FCT and believe in FCT, and also respect the people that made that sacrifice for FCT to be where it is. On this note, I will keep telling you people that please always feel at home and share what should be shared. These new things, this what we are saying, traditionally we have it. There is a name called traditionally, when you bring in information on time before any other person. Like in our own chiefdom, our own domain. 24 hours, His Highness phone is opened. 24 hours, anytime you look for him, is always available, because he knows the importance of peace. There is a common saying that says, from nonsense you gather sense. It makes a lot of sense. You think somebody is not saying anything. He's saying something, you can pick the relevant thing, throw the other things, so that we can get peace in our nation. We need it more than any other thing. Right now, the situation we're into it, I bet you the DG, please and please, you are doing a very wonderful work. And I'm telling you, please, his subordinates should always work with him so that he can achieve what he wants to achieve. And we, the people of FCT, we keep telling you that we always love that thing, peace. And that early information you are talking about, I bet you, we'll go back home and tell the council that there is so thing coming up. Please let everybody be informed, so that early information will take us to a better place for all of us, so that we can be all happy with ourselves. Thank you very much. May the peace of God be with all of you. Thank you. You know, I was given 2 minutes, and I believe I kept to it. Thank you.
You are going to take group photographs. Please, it's time for the group photograph. Please go. Mama. Fine, thank you. Let's join. Come on, organize photograph. Quickly. Organize. Are you sure you move forward?
Royal Father will go up to launch the situation.
Okay. Please, after this group photograph, the Royal Father and the representative of the minister and some of the VIPs here will go upstairs to launch the situation room. Please kindly remain seated, because the video of the visual of the launch will be displayed on the screen here. Thank you. Okay. That's not. Okay. Okay. This-
Just 4 or 5 people. The honor
Okay,
of Abaji,
okay,
the same
okay,
representative,
okay,
and the former DG,
Okay.
research representative.
okay,
Then we
okay,
go and just do
okay.
it.
Okay, please, His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince of Abaji, Professor Ochocha, Ambassador Bobe, please join as we go up. Mrs. Angela Batten, yeah, representative of the CDS, please. The DG is going. The DG is going. Please, ma'am. Please, can you join? Please, ma'am.
I want to assure that we're looking forward to more robust dissident reports and analysis that is evidence proof, from this room. Just on behalf of the management and staff of the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, thank each and every one of you for gracing our occasion as we go down again, to take the national anthem, and then I think that there will be a takeaway park, for everyone. So thank you so much.
Why is the road?
I want to shut down, then you guys know. Yeah, done the video.
Our partners, representative of the Chief of Defense Staff, our Director General, former Director Generals, representatives of various government agencies, representatives of various missions. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Hello, may I have your attention, please? Okay. Representative of various government agencies, representatives of embassies, high commissions present, the Director General, which to say thank you, and thank you, and thank you for honoring our invitation. There's lunch pack for everybody, for the special guests, and for everyone seated here. Thank you so much. We have the national anthem. Thereafter, departure. Thank you. The national anthem, please. Please arise for the national anthem. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you and safe trip as you return to your various destinations. just wanted to fix
I get
that.
no, it's
And I didn't want to.
Ambassador, no, next.